Hi, my name's John Millay. I am a singer-songwriter and do-it-yourselfer, and I am going to be building a recording studio right here in this space. It's hard to believe that was over 2.5 years ago. So much has happened since then. It actually feels like it's been a lot longer. This build took me way longer than I thought it would, but I am now finally standing on the front step of my completed office and recording studio. And I'm gonna take you in for a short tour. Now, most of you watching this video have already kind of seen the tour of the studio in its current state, finished state. But I'll take you in for a short tour here in a minute for those of you who haven't seen it yet. And before we do that, we're gonna do a flyby of all of the work that has been done since the day that I first set foot in this shop and started cleaning up and planning and working and building. So let's do that now. We've condensed this into like 5 minutes. So we're gonna go over the last 2.5 years of work in the next 5 minutes, talk a little bit about it, and wow. So let's do that, no more delay. Here we are, spray foam. I did this, I think in December of 2020 or January of 2021. And I probably should have waited till it was warmer. We did have a warm snap, and I did it during that warm snap, but even still, probably would have got a better yield if I had waited, but it worked out okay. And here, of course, are the plans. Spent a long time on those plans. I really spent a long time on a lot of this stuff because I was learning as I went. And I wanted to be sure that I was doing things right. And I still made a lot of mistakes. And if you're a builder, you're probably looking at me thinking, what is this goofball doing? But I did my best. I learned a lot and look forward to, doing something like this again in the future someday, a long time from now. Don't want to do anything in the near future. Now I'm working on the ceiling joists. One thing I would have done differently with the walls, I framed them flush with the posts, but the posts were not all plumb and some of them were twisted out into the room, and I had to do some shaving down of those posts. I spent a long time trying to figure out what to do with my ceiling. I ended up settling on these 9.5-inch I-beams. And the I-beams, I spent a long time making sure that they would span the distance I needed them to span and getting the spacing right and getting the measurements and everything right for the cut on under the eaves there. I had to do a slanted cut, but I did it all according to the instructions, and so hopefully it'll last a lifetime. No cracks in the ceilings or anything like that yet, so I think we're good. And here, of course, finishing up that interior framing, that's the office. And now framing up the window. And you're gonna see in a second here that I ended up having to take the panels off the wall to get the window in and get the flashing and everything done so the window would be nice and waterproof. And so I probably should have waited on the spray foam until a little bit farther into the process. But again, it ended up working out okay. I dealt with it and got a small spray foam kit and resprayed the panels that I had to take off because I couldn't really work with them with the foam on them, so I had to just scrape it all off. But there it was, the window. Now finishing up the joists, getting the joists put up in the office. Here you see me having to cut and saw and scrape away at that post because it was twisted. Proud of the wall surface, and anyway, you live and learn. And pretty soon here, my camera is going to break, and I'm going to skip a bunch of stuff. I don't have really any video of roughing in the electric. There you go. Not a lot of video of hanging the insulation, but a little bit there. And now some drywall. The ceiling, that was fun. Did it by myself. That lift was hugely helpful, and was able to carry those big panels by myself and get that all up. And there's the rest of the drywall. And I did have a little help in the process. My pastor, Andrew Spooner, came out and helped me with some of the drywall work, and my wife helped me a great deal throughout the entire process. Here's the mudding and taping. I'm kind of a meticulous guy, and don't have a lot of experience with mud and tape, and so it was hard for me because I felt like I wasn't doing a great job. But now that I look at the walls, they look good. You don't see any nail holes. You don't see the seams. At least none of it's very obvious. So I think it turned out okay. And all of this was recorded with my cell phone after the camera broke. And eventually I got tired of recording with my cell phone because I like to listen to stuff while I work, and I can't do that while my phone is taking video. Can't listen to an audiobook or any music or anything. So I got tired of it. So there, we got the insulation, got the decking up in the attic, got the ductwork ready. Now we're putting the air conditioner in. And it's working fine. It's keeping me real cool right now. As I'm recording this voiceover. And after this, I kind of quit recording, and so you don't really get to see any of the finishing work, the trim, the doors, the lights. I did a lot of that off camera, just because I was tired of not being able to listen to anything while I worked, and I just wanted to get her done. Paint and doors, and we're about done here. And that's a wrap. The studio is finished, and we're gonna walk in right now and have a little tour. All right, let's check it out. Welcome to my office. It's really crazy coming in here after watching all of that time lapse of the building process and kind of just knowing everything that went into this, and it's almost like having X-ray vision, seeing behind the walls. But here we are. This room is the office. Got a standing desk here, filing cabinet, drawers, shelves, natural light coming through the window, a beautiful plant that my wife gave me. We've got some storage space here. This door goes into the shop, and I've got my merch and CDs and stuff here, along with shipping supplies, hoodies and mugs and t-shirts and all of that good stuff. Got my own vacuum cleaner. I like to keep things clean. And of course, this is the door that you saw me building. It is quite heavy and does a good job of keeping unwanted noise out. I will have to say that the studio is not perfectly soundproof. If there are some really loud things and screaming kids and stuff going on in the shop or even outside, some of that noise does make it in here. But it is much, much quieter than any room in my house, much quieter even than this office here. So it's pretty good, even though it's not perfect. Of course, I got my recording sign there and a couple little Lego dudes. And now we're on into the studio. I'm really happy with the lighting in here so far. It's nice and bright, but I can also dim things down if I need to, and even turn banks on and off. Got a crazy bright rug that I really love. Some comfortable seating and lots of good books and Bibles for inspiration. And man, it just feels so great to have a space all to myself where I can come and sit and read, sit and play my guitar. I've been learning some cover songs lately, and I've also been working on some writing. And it just feels good to be getting back into making music after focusing so much of my energy on this building project. So I've got some sound treatment up here. You notice the rest of the walls are bare so far. I'm actually going to extend that treatment down the walls on both sides. Got some diffusers up here. I'm going to run more diffusers just like those farther down along the ceiling. I still have some slap echo happening here. And so I'm hoping to tame that with some more panels and some more diffusion. Got my desk here. This is also a desk that I built, custom designed and built. Really happy with it so far. It's got a keyboard tray and cable tray in the back. And I've got rack space on both sides, which I don't know how much of that I'm going to use, but I think I will be adding a few pieces here and there. So that's the studio, the office and the studio. It's finished. Of course, I do have more to do to finish getting things ready for actual recording, but the build is done. It feels so good to be done. And thanks for coming along on this journey. Thanks so much to all of you who contributed and helped make this project happen. I would love to see your comments and your questions. I know that there are a lot of things I could have done differently. And mistakes made along the way, but this was a huge learning process that I am super grateful for. I guess that's about it. Thanks for following along, and God bless you. Take care. We'll see ya.